Good morning. It's 9 a.m. and I will call to order the February 9th, 2021 meeting of the Saline County Board of Commissioners. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Shadwick,
Here.
Commissioner Sparks,
Here.
Commissioner Vidrickson,
Here.
Commissioner Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here. Would everyone please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. At this time, if everyone can make sure that all microphones, phones, and other electronic devices are muted when you are not speaking so that remote observers can hear the proceeding clearly, I would appreciate it. Now, if Brad, our IT director, could instruct everyone on how to raise their hand in the meeting. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning. Assuming you are using the Zoom client, if you select the Participants tab, you should see in the lower right-hand portion of your screen a raise hand function. Select that, and that will let the host know that you would like to speak.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll move into our citizens input portion of the meeting where citizens may speak on county government, usually limited to 3 minutes and pertaining to items not on today's agenda. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the commission at this time?
Mr. Chairman, no one has their hand raised at this time.
Okay, at this time, we will move into the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of prior minutes as presented on 2/2/2021, approval of tax roll adjustment, and approval of public forum agenda as presented. Are there any commissioners who wish to add or delete items from the consent agenda? Hearing no objection, the consent agenda will stand as approved. We will move into the action items.
Item number 1, RFA 118-21, bid acceptance for Mentor Road Bridge with Justin Mader, County Engineer.
Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, Commissioners. So I'm here to award the bid for the Mentor Road Bridge Replacement Project. And this project is located on Mentor Road, about 1/10 of a mile east of Gypsum Valley Road. Sealed bids were opened on January 28th, 2021 at 11 o'clock. And we did receive 5 bids, and they were from L&M Contractors, King Construction, Bridges Incorporated, Ebert Construction, and Reese Construction, with L&M Contractors being the low bid. So you should have in your packet the bid tabs that kind of provides all the details of each bid. The alternatives for action would be to, number 1, accept the bid as indicated by staff, and then number 2 would be to reject the bids. Staff recommends to accept the unit prices from the bid submitted by L&M Contractors in the amount of estimated work to equal $556,656. Budget impact, the funds for this project will be taken from the account 125, which is our special bridge construction. Also, just to note that this is the project where Saline County was awarded the Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Program funds in the amount of $200 or $200,000, and so that amount will go towards paying for this project.
Okay, well, thank you, Justin. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners?
This is Commissioner Vidrickson. Justin, on that $200,000, then that would take the cost for the bridge down to $356,000 for the county as far as actual cash. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And
Thank
it's on a reimbursement program. And so as soon as we start building on a project, I'll submit some pay estimates to KDOT to be reimbursed that.
Thank you.
Monies.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
Commissioner Weiss here. Justin, are there any date parameters for this project, and is it going to impact any of the farmers in their harvest season?
And I talked about as far as the wheat harvest, or really the harvest in general. You know, this is going to be a 6 to 7 month long project. And so there's always going to be one harvest that's going to be impacted, whether it's the summer or the fall. And I believe I talked to you guys about this, and it was, and it's been a while back, that we decided just to close the road and let the contractor start construction whenever they feel they can fit it in their schedule without taking away, for instance, like a wheat harvest time frame, which is what I typically do on a paved road. This being a gravel road, I didn't do that. But the time requirements that I did put in the contract, let me look. I should have looked that up real quick. I put it out there a ways. I believe it's like a June of 22, I believe. So it gives the contractor a pretty big time frame to get this done. And really, a lot of these projects are ideal for wintertime projects for contractors. So I wanted to give the contractor that an extra winter, this next winter coming up to complete the project.
Okay.
Justin, this is Commissioner White. I know your department engineered this and to your specs. Could you go over the nuts and bolts on the actual construction and the type of bridge it is?
Sure, I sure can. So what this project's going to be, it's a replacing a steel truss bridge. This is steel trusses are what we classify as a fracture critical bridge, and so this will be our last fracture critical structure in the county. So that's something that's going to be nice to take care of that. But the replacement bridge is going to be a 3-span, 48-foot, 64-foot, 48-foot reinforced concrete haunch slab with a total out-to-out width of 30 feet. So that'll make with the concrete bridge rails, the roadway width across the bridge will be 28 feet, which is pretty typical size for a county road. The new bridge is going back in about the same location as the existing. We do have a fair amount of stone riprap on this project because the channel's kind of doing some funny stuff right through there, trying to turn through the bridge, which gives us some concerns with erosion underneath the structure, and so we're trying to mitigate that with concrete rubble. Grading is pretty minimal. We're really not changing the road profile much. We are constructing some more ditches just to allow a little better drainage off of the road, in that area. But it's a pretty simple, standard type project. The most complicated part of it is skewed 40 degrees. So it's not a straight structure, which just gives a little more complexity to construction. But contractors are used to it.
Justin, this is Commissioner Vidrickson again, and back on Commissioner Weiss's comment, and you say this is a 10-month-long project, and I understand that it's going to impact somebody's harvest. That's just the way it's going to be. But as far as a start and stop, you said when did you say the completion? By the summer of 2022, or what was the?
Let me pull that up real quick. I should have had that. I believe so. So what I do is I put it as they can start as soon as the contracts are signed. And this one here, I had it as a completion date. So as they have to have it completed by May 31st of 2022. Okay, that's a completion time. All right, but how I have it though is as soon as they start construction, so as soon as they close the road, I give them 140 working days to get the project done. So
that's the number.
That's about a 7-month project because there's about 20 to 22 working days in each month. So as soon as they start, they have to stay with the project and get it done, and they can't drag it out till May 31st of 2022. Have it closed for a year and a half.
That's the number that I was looking for and the answer that I was looking for. So okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak?
Mr. Chairman, No one has their hand raised at this time.
Okay, seeing none, I will bring it back to the commission for more discussion or possible action.
Commissioner Shadwick here. Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the county engineer's recommendation and award the Mentor Road Bridge bid to L&M Contractors, $556,656.
Commissioner Weiss, I second the motion.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 118-21 bid acceptance for Mentor Road Bridge. Are there any further comments? If not, we'll call for the vote. Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Vidrickson,
Aye.
Commissioner Shadwick,
Aye.
Commissioner Sparks, aye. The motion passes 5-0.
All right, thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Justin. Next item.
Item number 2, RFA 119-21, amendment to Saline County's health insurance policy with Marilyn Leamer, Human Resources Director.
Good morning, Marilyn.
Good morning, Commissioners. This request for action is to hopefully sign an amendment. Back in October, we started our new plan year. We made a change to the network, provided a little better network, a little deeper discounts. When we did that, we found that there was a negative impact to the number of eye doctors that were in network. So we decided to cover those the same, whether they're in network or out of network. We did get the change made on the summary of our benefits, but we didn't get the language changed within the plan document. So this request for action is to sign an amendment to the plan document. So the alternatives for action are to approve and sign it, or do not approve it or sign it. Staff recommendation is to sign the amendment, and there is no budget impact.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners? Any members of the public who wish to speak at this time?
Mr. Chairman, nobody has their hand raised at this time.
Thank you. I will bring it back to the commission for more discussion or possible action.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Vidrickson. I move that we approve the amendment to Saline County's health insurance plan as recommended by staff.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve RFA number 119-21 amendment to the Saline County's health insurance policy. Are there any further comments? If not, we'll call for the vote. Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Vidrickson,
Aye.
Commissioner Shadwick,
Aye.
Commissioner Sparks, aye. Motion passes 5-0. At this time, we'll move into the informational items. Item 1, County Appraiser Update.
Good morning, Commissioners. This update covers from last August to February. We are scheduled to mail our value notices for real estate on February 24th. We have to statutorily have that done by March 1st. We're scheduled to do that on February 24th, and those values will be on our website on that date. Assuming they are mailed the 24th, and the last day for taxpayers to call and schedule an informal meeting with our office would be March 26th. The hearing doesn't have to be held by then, but they need to call by that time. And I think we've gone over this before, that an informal hearing is one of the times that you can have a discussion about your value. The other is at the time you pay the taxes, and it works best for all involved. Our office, all the taxing entities, including Saline County and the taxpayer, in order to do that at the spring informal. So we encourage people, if they have questions or concerns, to do that. I wanted to go over some of the numbers, 2019 versus 2020. There have been concerns nationwide, statewide, and even locally about how the pandemic has affected the real estate market and number of sales and sale prices. However, just looking at this, the number of residential sales has increased 4.5% in 2020 versus 19. And the average home sale price has increased 7%. I know that some people received a little postcard from the Salina multi-list service, which is the Board of Realtors, that shows actually even higher numbers than that. The difference between the two is they are just looking at properties that were listed through one of their agents, whereas we get all the sales and transfers of properties. Commercial properties, the number of sales of commercial properties actually increased over 21% in 2020 versus 19. Now, it's a little bit difficult to compare commercial sale prices from one year to the next on a property by property basis, since there's so much varying uses of those properties. But I will say that if we compare our 2020 values that were set as of January 1st, and then the sale prices of properties after that, our values were about 95% of the sale prices on average for residential properties, and about 97% for commercial properties, which that simply shows that on average, commercial properties were still selling for more than our value in 2020. Personal property values, I think on my sheet said they're scheduled to be mailed March 30th. That was a mistake. It's actually April 30th. We do plan on, in 2022, a year from now, personal property renditions will be able to be filed online. They certainly don't have to be. We'll still accept them here in the office, but they'll be able to be filed online. We'll be mailing out a postcard with information and instructions on how people can do that. And the cost of the postcard plus any setup fee for our provider online is actually less than mailing the renditions that we've done for decades. Have a few miscellaneous things to talk about that's been going on. We do have a video about appraisal and property tax process that is now on our website. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up is, I don't know how familiar you are with K-Work, but it's Kansas Workers Risk Crop Cooperative for the counties. There are 77 counties in Kansas that use them for workers' comp premiums. This has been an ongoing problem with appraisers, or for appraisers, for many, many years. There have been the workers' comp premiums for appraisers for a lot of varying strange reasons I won't get into right now, but have been as much as 500 to 700% higher than other offices, and as much as 200% higher than even law enforcement. As the president of our Appraisers Association, I was kind of tasked with carrying on this, talking with K-Work and the State Department of Insurance and legislators about this. And we received notice a couple of months ago that those premiums will now be in line with some of the other offices. So what that amounts to is an annual premium reduction just for Saline County of $40,000 a year. And it actually comes to a premium reduction for the 77 counties represented by K-Work of over $500,000 statewide. So, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions you have.
This is Commissioner Vidrickson. I'm just curious as to why K-Works, I mean, I don't know if Maryland's still on here or not, but why that just doesn't come under the umbrella of the county instead of an individual department. I mean, does it have to do with the number of people that are in your department versus Ottawa County or Ellsworth County or whatever? Why is that different?
Well, I can say that.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it depends on county to county. It does fall under the county itself here. And then in many of the smaller counties, they do divide that up amongst each department.
And the positions are assigned a certain amount of risk. So you will see positions like law enforcement have a higher risk rate than, let's say, a clerical position. There's more potential there. And they've always had the appraisers up there high. I mean, I agree with Sean that it shouldn't be that high. You know, they might have an injury out on a property, but it certainly isn't up there with some of the other higher risk positions within the county.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is it seems strange that the appraisers department or the sheriff or whoever it is has to take this on rather than it fall under the umbrella of our HR department or our insurance people. That's what I'm kind of.
They don't, Commissioner.
Beg your pardon?
They do not have to take it on as individual departments. That's what Mr. Robertson was just saying. The workers' comp premium in Saline County is paid out of our employee benefits fund. That's not universally true in other counties, but here that is a responsibility of the county as a whole rather than individual departments.
Any other comments by commissioners?
Commissioner Weiss here. One question, make sure I get this clarified in my mind. This is a workman's comp we're visiting about, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Don't they have usages that they base their premiums on? I mean, if a private business, if a business has a few years, you know, they're running of low claims, and then their premiums will continue to lower. Is that not how this is done with K-Works?
That's correct. It's just like any insurance. They're going to base it on the utilization. And so we do see those rates go up and down depending on the injuries that occurred prior to the date that they're given the rates. So it is based on the utilization. And I really cannot explain why they've always had appraisers at that high rate.
All right. Any other commissioner questions? Okay, we'll go into item number 2. Thank you, Sean. Marilyn.
Budget process for 2022 with Philip Smith Haynes, County Administrator.
Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Commissioners. So that was the perfect lead in from Sean's conversation about not only the workers' comp premiums, but also the property tax notices, the valuation notices going out, to talk about the budget for 2022. Even though we are just a little bit over 1/12 of the way into 2021, it is time to start thinking about our process for next year's budget. The budget, of course, is geared around a final adoption so that we can transmit our requested property tax levy to the county clerk by the 25th of August each year. So we try to make sure that we have at least 10 days prior to that date, we do the final adoption. This year, we're slating that for Tuesday, August 10th to do the final adoption. And so we just sort of back everything up from there and plan to start the process with your commission a month from today on March 9th with a conversation about where we see the county in terms of a financial projection if things go the way we expect over the next few years. Follow that then with a discussion about your priorities on March 16th, and then send that information out to departments, have them enter their budgets into our financial system, and come back and present to you the requests. This year, there's one alteration I'm suggesting from the way that we prepared the budget last year. Last year, we had all of the departments have an opportunity to speak directly to the commission. We did a session over at the Chamber Annex early in the process, and I'm recommending moving that about a month later in the process this year, and starting with having individual meetings between my office and the departments. And the reason for that recommendation is because my observation from last year was, while departments appreciated the opportunity to address the commissioners, that really wasn't timely for you all. You all hadn't really had an opportunity to look at the budget at that point and absorb and formulate questions. So there wasn't a lot of back and forth at those meetings, and then your questions came later in the process. So trying to be mindful of that and create a process that works a little better. So I've run this by the department heads and elected officials, and they seem to agree that they thought that that process would work a little bit better, to talk to me first, have me present something to the commission, and then have you all have a chance to formulate questions before they come in and talk to you. And those departmental presentations we would slate for a special meeting of the commission approximately Thursday, June the 3rd. There would be one other special meeting that could be held if necessary. That would be a meeting for you all to hear appeals on July 1st. Last year, we did not have a special meeting for that. We only had one appeal last year, so we just did it on a regular Tuesday meeting. So we'll play that by ear this year. But in general, with that one exception, it's the same process as last year. The dates all tend to slip by one day just because of the calendar. But that's what I'm outlining for you today. And I'd be happy to receive any feedback from commissioners about that, whether you like that, don't like that, can be modified.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. Are there any commissioners that have any comments? Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. Yes,
And I echo those comments, and really this is more on Phil and the administration to get this accomplished. So I think we need to walk to the beat of their drum and go along with them.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner White, and my comments are basically looking forward to the 22 process, and hopefully we can do it in person, face to face, instead of a Zoom-o-matic meeting. So we shall see.
Look forward to that. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Philip Smith-Haynes, our county administrator. We'll go to item number 3.
Well, Roger, if I may,
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Sorry.
I thought you were asking for comments on just that particular item with the, but I do have a question of Phil. 2 or maybe even 3 weeks ago, we were talking with citizens about the septic tank charges and so forth. Can you give us an update on where we're at with that process, or how we're doing?
Well, Robert, that's fine, but we'll have commissioners' comments here in a second.
Well, I'm going under county
Okay.
administrator's update. Okay, have it your way. Go ahead.
Okay, are we done with the budget process here? I'm sorry, Phil? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go to item number 3.
County Administrator's update with Philip Smith-Haynes, County Administrator.
Okay, Phil?
Okay, so just a few things to update the commission on today. First off, a legislative update, SB 13, which is the potential property tax changes and would affect the budget item that we just talked about, possibly. That continues to wind its way through the legislature. The big news this week is House Bill 2142. It seems that in every legislative session, and not just in Kansas, but around the country, there is always one bill every year that, while introduced with the best of intentions, reflects a complete lack of understanding of how processes work. And that bill for this year is House Bill 2142, which has the Association of Counties very excited, alarmed, because it would basically retroactively allow for folks to come back and make a claim for for property taxes during the period of time that they may have a business shut down due to something like COVID-19, but it's not specific to that. And it also contains no process for getting the property taxes back from any other jurisdictions. So counties would be on the hook for paying businesses back for property taxes that we never received because they went to schools or cities or extension districts or townships. So it's a really sort of fundamentally curious bill. Certainly there have been attempts made by all the counties around the state and the state to try and provide some financial relief to businesses that were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. And here in Saline County, of course, we contributed more than $2.7 million of our coronavirus relief funding, as well as $120,000 worth of community development block grant funding toward local businesses. We're very sensitive to the fact that they did have real financial impacts from the COVID-19 pandemic. But House Bill 2142 just puts a burden on counties that's simply misplaced, and like I said, is also retroactive. So that's something that House Tax Committee will be taking up this afternoon. I know that some of you were on a webinar with the Kansas Association of Counties on Friday about that. I know that our county treasurer has weighed in with our legislative delegation about this. It's just, like I said, well-intentioned. We understand that people have had impacts, but just completely misses the mark as far as how the process actually works. The second item that I wanted to update the commission on is jail progress. So We did meet yesterday again with the architect here on site and went over new plans for both the exterior and the interior of the proposed jail building. Looking at 2 weeks from today, on the 23rd, for the architect to be in front of your commission to present the proposed exterior view of the jail. And the reason for that is that they would then file a planning request with the city of Salina based on that exterior elevation. And so continue to make good progress. I think the sheriff and I felt pretty good about where we ended last night. The third item, I just wanted to let you know, and I believe Mr. Robertson is still on here, but he informed me that he has been appointed to the property tax subcommittee of the Governor's Council on Tax Reform. So we're very pleased that he has that opportunity to weigh in on a statewide level. And then finally, I just wanted to remind folks that next Monday is President's Day. Will be a county holiday, so county offices will be closed, and we will try and speak with the commissioners about the agenda this Friday rather than next Monday. And then I believe this might be the time to try and address the question posed by Commissioner Vidrickson. So yes, 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, there was a question from a local citizen about the fee structure for the septic permits, in particular replacement of an existing septic system. And so that is slated for next Tuesday, the 16th, to come back to your commission. I have reviewed an item from Planning and Zoning yesterday for next Tuesday. So that is when we can expect to see that. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Commissioner Vidrickson, and I apologize to Chairman Sparks. I was out of order in terms of, I got ahead of myself here on the agenda, so I apologize for that, Roger.
You're welcome. No problem. Do you have any other questions here?
Yeah, Commissioner Weiss here for the administrator. We did have discussion, it's been maybe a month ago, concerning a possible lease program with our fleet. Can you give us an update of where that might be?
Yes, so the direction from the commission was that you wanted to compare the program that was presented to us to opportunities that might exist either locally or other similar programs. And so we have prepared a request for information that has gone out to a number of leasing companies, both locally and nationally, so that we could bring back to the commission a comparison. That went out couple of weeks ago, and I believe it might be due back a week from this Friday. I believe the 19th is the deadline for those to be returned. And so once we receive responses, we'll be compiling those and bringing something back to the commission.
Thank you. Any other comments by commissioners? Are there any announcements?
Commissioner Weiss here. I have one announcement. Friday, I attended the advisory committee on the senior services, and to give you an update of what happened the past year. There was an increase of monthly meals of approximately 30 meals a day or a month done. They did their mailing for donation drive. $41,000 was raised, which is an increase of $8,500 from 2019. They also assisted in scheduling approximately 500 COVID appointments for shots, and that's continuing to happen daily. They've been quite an asset to the elderly and such, as far as getting on the list to get their shots. In 2020, they served over 78,000 meals in Saline County. They are now starting, excuse me, a grant process for capital improvements. They've tried to prioritize the improvements they'd like to do, and they are going after possible grants to help with the funding of that. They also started a new program. They partnered with the Friends of the Animal Shelter and Etherton Vet Clinic to provide health care and food for pets of shut-in Meals on Wheels recipients. All these services are provided at no cost to the county. They actually just seek applications from their Meals on Wheels clients, and then pass that on to the Friends of the Animal Shelter and Etherton to coordinate the care and the food needs of the pets. And currently they have 14 people receiving this service, and that's about it for the senior services.
Well, thank you for that update, Mr. Weiss. Any other announcements?
Commissioner Vidrickson and Administrator Smith Haynes has already touched on it, but I did attend the jail meeting yesterday, and Phil has pretty well filled you in as to what it would pertain to, but I was present, and for that matter, so was Commissioner Weiss. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any other comments by commissioners? Okay. It looks like we need to recess for executive session. And how much time do we need?
15 minutes, please.
Okay. And okay, if I can, we'll go into action. Mr. Chairman, I move or can I have an action? Mr. Chairman, I move we recess to executive session under the employee negotiations exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act for 15 minutes and being back in here at 9:57.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss.
Aye.
Commissioner Vidrickson.
Aye.
Commissioner Shadwick.
Aye. Commissioner
Sparks. Aye. We will go into executive sessions for 15 minutes and return back into here at 9:57. This time we are back into regular session. We need to go back into executive sessions for 5 more minutes. Same employee negotiations. All in favor?
Or so moved first.
Second. Commissioner Weiss, I second.
Okay. We have a motion, first and a second. Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Vidington,
Aye.
Commissioner Shadwick.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Sparks, aye. We'll go back into executive session for 5 minutes and reconvene at 10:05. We are back in regular session. Are there any further business? Hearing no further business, I hear this Saline County, February 9th, 2021, Saline County Board of Commissioners business meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.